Okay, so I have to delve into politics a little bit at this point because it's one of my passions. It always has been. I've never run for office, never really seriously considered running for office, and my loving, supporting partner of 7+ years has explained to me that should I ever decide to, she's going to disappear. So that seems reasonable. Now, at this point, I have to bring out a prop, and I'm hoping that y'all are able to read it. It is politicalforum.com. Underneath that, it says Smarties Bar and Grill. If you go to politicalforum.com, you'll have to register. It is free. But you need to drop in at Smarties Bar and Grill because that's where everybody hangs out and we have a blast. One of the rules at Smarties Bar and Grill is that politics are not to be discussed. So, there we go. So, and if y'all go to Smarties Bar and Grill, please make notice and somebody tell her I expect my bar tab to be completely covered for doing this. I joke about drinking quite a bit. I do, on occasion, have a drink 3, 4 times a year. I'm very Irish. I don't drink very much because I'm on a lot of medication. And if I drank very much, I feel certain that my liver would poke itself out my belly button, look me up in the eye, and go, "What are you doing to me?" And it feels important to respect my liver, so I go with that. Politicalforum.com has been in existence, I believe, since 2002, maybe 2004. I myself have been a member since 2008. It's gone through some changes recently, but it is one of the best places I have ever experienced where people from all walks of life, all orientations, races, political affiliations, people from other countries can come and have, for the most part, very civil discussions and debates about other ideas than your own. Now, there are some who are absolutely insistent upon being what has become known around political forum as poo heads, and sometimes you just have to look at them and laugh. I have found the most fantastic group of people online that I have ever had the privilege to know. There are so many people who are conservative, who are Republican, who would never have listened to a lesbian in their life, that have embraced me as a person because of the beliefs that I hold, but more in the manner that I express them. I do not demonize the right as a whole. I do not demonize Republicans as a whole. I will admit, until I joined this forum, I had quite a bit of bias against Republicans and right-wing leaning people. And one of the things that I've learned through talking to many of these people is that most of them are a lot like me. We have different versions and different methods that we think will help this country, but we all want what is best for this country. And there are so many people who, as leftist, liberal, leaning, and dyke as I am, still do not vilify me, in fact, have stood up for me and realized that there is is a humanity level to most people who decide to post. And that has been an amazing experience for me. I had to go through a series of surgeries back in 2008. And I had started a thread that ran for over a year. People of every political stripe, every orientation, every race, several countries posted on that thread. And in over a year's time, there was not a single political argument put forth in that thread. These were people who had never met me in real life, who had come to know me, that I had come to know through this experience. And all they cared about was that a person they knew was in pain. And they carried me through that. And they're carrying me through this. I am very fervent about my politics. I have a lot of ideas that a lot of people don't agree with. Here's one of them. I cannot remember the exact numbers, but I know that there were a whole group of people before the 2012 election, when President Obama was running for re-election, that spent, I believe, close to $100 million, if not more, trying to get Governor Romney and various senators and congressmen elected. And that didn't work out that well for them. And here's my thought. If you have $100 million plus and you care about what's happening in this country, what if you went ahead and put that into schools, hospitals, fire stations, police departments, actual people who live and work every day and do the work of this nation that can use that kind of money, that could use that kind of support, instead of deciding, well, if we can't have our candidate, then we're just going to throw the money away. But I don't have that kind of money, and it's clearly not up to me. Now, if there happen to be any of my medical people watching, this is not a cigarette. It is a prop. It is sadly a prop that has gone out. It is a prop. I use them way less. I know that it's horrible. Here's the other thing. I've been smoking for a while. And the people that amuse or annoy me the most are the ones who come up to me and say, smoking's bad for you. Did you know that? Did you know that it's bad for you? I was at a lunch with people I had never met before. I was wearing a black jacket. This woman found it very important to show me, you see your jacket? Your lungs are as black as that. I'm actually aware that smoking's bad for me. I've read a few things. It's on the package. I get it. And I'm trying to quit. But it hasn't happened yet. Now, one of the reasons that I decided to go ahead and do the Stand Up Now is that earlier this month, I got some really horrifying, terrifying, and life-changing news. I have developed oral cancer because I contracted at some point in my life the virus known as HPV. I'm fairly certain that stands for human Pavlova virus. I'm aware that the smoking does not help, but that's not what this came from. And I am more fervently trying to quit now than ever. But as I've sat with this news for the last few weeks, I've researched it, I've talked to people about it, and it has become something of great importance to me. HPV is something that is very easily detected. There are certain specific blood tests one must request, and there are vaccines that will help prevent most of the horrific damage that can happen to a person. One of the things that drives me insane is how many states say, we don't need the HPV vaccine. We can't offer that to teenagers. That will make them think about having sex. Because teenagers never think of sex until somebody mentions HPV. And then they go, why, yes, let's go have rampant sex now. It bothers me on such a deep level that there is so much misinformation. There is not nearly enough correct information about this disease. HIV and AIDS has been given an amazing amount of attention and money, and it's been well needed, and it's done a great deal of work. HPV is something that people need to be aware of. There are entirely too many teenage girls, teenage boys, people in their 20s or 30s who believe as long as I'm just having oral sex, I'm fine. Now, obviously, HIV can also be transferred through oral sex. But people have that on their mind now. HPV has been below the radar until the last couple of years. And it is so easily prevented. It is so easily controlled. And there are thousands of people out there who are risking exposure to this every day. And there is no need for that. There are approximately 161 strains of the HPV virus. There are 2 that they know of right now that can develop into cancer: oral cancer and cervical cancer. Mine showed up in the form of oral cancer. And I'm going to have surgery 2 days from now. The night that we're filming this is Tuesday, August 27th, I believe. My surgery is set for August 29th. They're going to have to, everybody go, ooh, at the same time. They're going to have to remove a small portion of my tongue. They're going to take the lymph nodes from the right side of my neck. I'll have to learn how to talk again, which is one of the reasons I'm doing this now. And hopefully, I have the possibility of radiation after that, and hopefully that will cure it. The success rate at this point is very, very high. But people who are not aware of it, people who don't know that they have it, who have no reason to believe they've ever been exposed to it, it can lay in their system for years and develop into cancers that most patients and a lot of doctors don't know to look for. And HPV can kill people, and there is no reason for that. I'm going to pause on that for a moment and get back to some humor, but I'm going to mention that again before the end of this. I am a huge fan of baseball. I like football. I love football. I'm a huge fan of baseball. My sweetie, not a fan of baseball. She'll wander through. She'll see me watching it. She'll ask me, but why? Why do they have to spit so much? And I don't know. And it is disgusting. But I like it. I like to watch it. I like that it's low paced. I have discovered that baseball sleep is some of the best sleep out there. I can turn on a baseball game, and if I've got insomnia, which is frequent, I can sleep right through it. A few years ago, when I could drive, the Rangers were in the World Series. It was the first time it had ever happened. This was a momentous occasion in my life. Now, at that time, I could drive. My sweetie, in a wonderful, wonderful display of her devotion to me, decided that she would keep an eye on the television because the magic DVR button was not working. So she's going to watch. I'm going for snacks. I come back, I bring the snacks, I look at the TV, and something horrible has happened. The Rangers are no longer anywhere near the top. And I looked at her and I said, but honey, what happened? And she said, well, they did a lot of spitting. Yes, I know. And then that other team in those other colors of clothes that's not your team, they came up to the where you bat with the bat, and they hit a bunch of balls and they ran around the bases a bunch, and then things changed. And I had to sit with that with a minute, and I realized, well, her logic is really unassailable. That is actually what happened. I don't believe she's going to be asked to do play-by-play anytime soon, but that's okay. She did explain it to me. Now, there is a family member of hers who I will not name, but he's probably going to know who I'm talking about. He's a softball player. He loves softball. He's not a professional softball player. He's not even a 3A or 2A baseball player, but he loves softball. And he finds it very important on more than one occasion to spend $200 to $300 on a baseball bat. That's a bat. That's a piece of wood that you stand up there and you hope you can hit the ball with. I've got a big plank of wood in my storage closet that if I were careful, I could saw off part of it, whack off a little bit of the ends, wrap some duct tape around, stand up there and probably hit some balls with it and save $200. But he thinks that would not be the best idea. So, okay. Now, at one point, my sweetie did stop me in the middle of the game, and she said, okay, it's driving me nuts. What are ribbies? What do they mean when they say ribbies? And it took me a second to figure out what she was talking about. The guy comes up to the plate, and he spits 14 times, and he grabs himself, and he adjusts everything, and then the people on the TV are talking about, he's got so many ribbies, and it finally clicked. RBIs, runs batted in. And she said, can't they just say runs batted in? And I said, well, yes, they could. I don't know why they don't. And here's the other thing. America's pastime is baseball. That's what they say. That's what they've said for years. America's pastime is baseball. Pardon me. This is just water. It is not vodka. I don't know if I'm the only one who's noticed this, but America's pastime, baseball, when you listen to almost any broadcast, it is rife with what a lot of people could consider sexual remarks. They talk about hitters getting fisted. They talk about hitters needing some new wood. And then, of course, the classic, the switch hitter. Now, in baseball, of course, this means a player who has the ability to bat from either side of the plate. In other cultures, this means something different. And were you to use that term amongst baseball players, it's quite possible you would not get a positive response from them. Now, need my prop again. It's possible that baseball, the NFL, hockey, and basketball, they have all made great strides, in my opinion, toward becoming a more accepting culture of different nationalities, different personalities, different orientations of players. And I'm going to lose lesbian points for this because I don't know that I can remember his name. I believe it's Jason Williams, the first professional black athlete who came out as a gay member of a team. And I cannot applaud him enough. That took guts, it took courage, and for the most part, the response from his teammates has been amazing. And that, I believe, is a wonderful, 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 wonderful thing. Now, the other thing I feel is really important that I mention, because gay rights, gay marriage, gay civil rights from partner to partner has been in the news, will continue to be in the news. Here's what I would love people to understand. I truly wish I had half the power that people seem to believe that I have, living my boring life in a suburb of Texas, in a suburb of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, with my partner, going on 8 years, just living a ho-hum life. I've been around a lot of married couples. So far, none of them have broken up because of my influence. I've not tried to break up marriages, but just the thought that I have this secret superpower amazes me. And if I could somehow harness that, then the lesbian mafia could really, truly take over. And that would be a sight to see.